Well, another day up here in the Great White North here, trying to help you guys out with the Chevettes. And today I want to look at the fuel sending issue. If you have a problem where you turn your key on and your gauge is all the way to the full mark like this, I can guarantee you your problem is going to be in the back. So if you've gone to the back of the car now, you want to take and look at this connection right here. Pull this connection apart and put it back together. Your second problem is going to be right here. Right there is your second problem. I painted it blue. That is your ground for your tank. You want to clean that connection. You can copper coat this lead inside here. You can take it apart, put some copper coat in there, clean it, put it back together. Then you'll also want to go to your fuse panel number 2 and unplug this connector right here. Whether this is glass or the regular new fuses, push that in, pull this connector out, make sure these contacts are clean because you could have had water coming down over the ears through your firewall and corroded something in there. Third thing you want to look at is your fuel tank. Once you have your tank out, you want to make sure that this connection right here, that connection there is clean. And you want to make sure that this ground wire is not broken to the back. To get your fuel sending units working, and I will show you what is going on. So it's been over a year since I found this problem and the solution to it, and I've helped a couple of you guys on the websites, gave you direction on how to fix it, and I know you got yours working, and I will go through the procedure with you. What I got here is the one piece of cable that runs to the back of the car, and that plugs in on the fuse box. Cut this connector off, find the wire, I believe it was the red one, for the fuel gauge sending unit. Peel the plastic off, and these wires are all aluminum inside, if you guys did not know that. So it's a double connector, and peeled off the shielding, exposed my nice colorful wires, and I'm going to eliminate the wires I do not need. Okay, I got Charlie again helping me here. I don't know if he's much of a help or not, but he likes the wires. So I got a fuse panel right here, got a wiring harness with the whole assembly. Whether it's the old style glass or the new style, the fuse block is the same pretty much. The orientation for this plug right here is the same for all the cars. So I just set that on there. To get that plug out, you're going to come between the blue wire and the red wire on this and push that plastic tab, and then just at the same time pull this connector out. As you can see on my car, I took mine out already. It's got the orange and white wire, which is your interior lighting, and I'm going to plug this guy that's loose into my harness and eliminate all the other wires. So what I want to show you is, now that I plugged in and I determined that the red wire is the fuel gauge sending unit. So if this red wire is not connected, as you have a bad connection on the ground on your tank, you'll see right away your gauge will go to overfull. So coming back here, if I ground out, I'm grounding it out, it'll bring it right back to the empty mark. Okay, so if you care to make your own little testing lead and you have a scrap car and you pull that wiring harness out, you can save this whole piece here. So what I did is I cut them off. I left about 8 inches, and that's just to keep this red wire kind of supported so it doesn't break off. I'm going to tape this up a little bit just to give it a little cushioning so that this aluminum wire will not break in the future. Alright, so what I did is I took a couple vice grips and I took the ground off my door post right here. Got a heavy wire, and I went with a vice grip right to the metal body on the fuel sending unit. I ground this out and my gauge goes to normal, right to empty. I let the wire go, so I have no contact right here. And the problem is I sandblasted and I went underneath here to the brass pin, nothing. But if I get onto the lead itself, my gauge goes to the normal position. Okay, So what we need to do is we need to take that press nut, they call that, and clean that connection. That's what I'm going to do now. Alright, here's my craziness. Who knew I had so many fuel gauge sending units here? So a lot of these are tagged. I went through them. This is over a year ago. I already figured this all out. And two of you on the websites have followed my instructions and actually have fixed your own cars. And this is something that you can do. Just take a little bit of time and I'll show you here that little press nut right here. Now remember, that's sandblasted and I can't get a connection here, but I can get a connection on, got my vice grip there, the 6LN on there, and I grab the nut, and what I'm doing is I'm just rotating it to see if I can break that corrosion to get a better contact, and I'm going to do a test on the top side of the post here to see if it works. Alright, so what I did is I got my wire on the post, and there we go. My gauge is getting down there, getting close. So I'm going to try something else here. I'm going to put the connector on here and wire it. Okay, so I actually got the proper connector from the other sending units to pop onto this guy. So I joined the regular wire, factory wire, that's red, to the red wire that's aluminum that I shorted out, and I'll turn the ignition on now. Okay, so here we have it. This is our problem with our fuel sending units. Right here, I got the little tin nut. I got it off. I was squeezing it with the pliers and then rotating it, and it actually just popped right off. And it's not broken. I can probably flatten it out and press it back on. Now there's an isolator in here. I'll pull off the top here. There, the pin came right out. Because what it is sandwiched with a little isolator right there. And now you can really see the corrosion right here on your fuel sending unit. So you want to take that lead here and you want to clean that lead up. See the corrosion there? That is our issue. These cars are 30 plus years old. I'm going to show you the corrosion here. So this is something you can do. Just do not lose that little rubber in there. Where did my isolator go? It already rolled away on me. Right there. There's my isolator. There's my tin nut. There's my plug. This one I figured out myself. This problem right here, I just came across from the metering it last year. So if your fuel gauge is making some weird movements where it's wiggling like back and forth all the time, this is the problem in here. You're gonna pry back 1, 2, 3 tabs. You're gonna lift the little cover off. Since you have this, since that lead is gonna be off already, that cover can be removed. And what you're gonna see in here is called a rheostat with a bunch of wires wrapped around an isolator. And then you have, okay, this little filament here has lost its spring. Is you just want to give that guy a little bit of a pressure on there, a little tension, bend it quite a bit, and then clean this cover with a Q-tip and some alcohol, and then you want to fit it back in and put the pins back together. Clean your lead up top, get this lead fit back up there with the isolator, the tin hat, and to get this thing pressed, you're gonna have to figure some kind of a couple little sockets, one from the outside, one from the inside, to press your tin nut together. And do not forget your isolator in between. That's critical. Otherwise, you're always gonna be on full. So there you have it. Another thing we're gonna look at was the diesel. Here we go. Here's a diesel fuel sending unit. It's got the return line down here, and it's got a water, I think it's a water sensor in here. And they got some kind of funky valve up here. So they got quite a lot more things going on with them, but they do fit the tank just as well. One more thing, if you did have a problem with your lines, these lines here could rust, get a pinhole in them. What you could do is get a little bit of silver solder and some paste and clean it, and just put a little silver solder and fix your little pinholes and have it working again.